the great honor of working with some really talented faculty members, two of whom are on this, this call with us this morning. I'll introduce them to you in just a moment. But my role as provost is to really oversee the delivery of our academic mission to all of our students. That means working closely with faculty in all of our academic departments, both at the undergraduate level as well as the graduate level. And I also work closely with all of our academic support offices and administrative offices, including the registrar's office, the director of the library, the dean of student success, and the dean of career development and experiential learning. All those folks are on my team, and it's a great group. I will share with you just a few nuggets of information that you perhaps already know if you're interested in Hood. We are a liberal arts institution, and what that means is regardless of your academic major, there'll be expect all of our students, a journey that we'll expect all of our students to go through in various modes of inquiry. And that's fundamentally important to a Hood education and a college educated student. So we're committed to offering that experience for you regardless of your major. You've probably seen on our website, we have over 30 academic majors that you can choose from. And that, much like the FAFSA that Nikki was talking about, can be daunting, but we're here to help. Our biggest major, if you will, is undeclared or undecided, and that's a good thing. We have a very systematic support process for students to take you on that journey through the liberal arts so you can pick the major that's right for you. But relative to our conversation today, I want to share with you that my team in academic affairs works really closely with Dr. Kolb and all of the coaches in athletics to ensure that we really live and embody that student athlete mentality and that student athlete model of a D3 school. And so I'm also really proud of that. Our student athletes are some of the most outstanding students on our campus. And if you apply to and are admitted to Hood, realize that we've done that for a reason. We believe you can succeed here. We believe you can succeed academically. We believe you can succeed professionally, and we believe you can succeed athletically. So I encourage all of you to follow the good guidance you're receiving from Nikki and the enrollment management team, because we're here to help, and we're here to help you make a great decision. So with that, I will share that one of the overarching commitments we have in academics is a commitment to high impact, hands-on applied learning. That's emulated not just in the Delaplane School of Business that Professor Van Winter is going to talk to you about, but also in our nursing program that Professor Cooper is going to talk to you about. So with that, Professor Van Winter, maybe we could start with you. You could share with us a little bit about what an academic experience looks like in the School of Business for our student athletes.
Sure, I love to. Good morning, everyone. Nice to meet you. Hopefully we'll all be meeting in person soon. Before I even hit business or academics, I kind of want to say I've always been inspired and impressed by our student athletes at Hood College. When I played a college sport, it was like a hobby you did on the side. And now I see it like a year-round dedication to excellence, which is inspiring by itself. But what I like is I've never had a student use that as a reason not to also excel in the classroom. And I really think that comes from the coaches, right? I mean, the coaches are the ones, they obviously want you to reach your full potential as a student athlete, and they definitely want to win. You can watch Coach Dickman coach a basketball game. He's definitely there to win. But just like the professors, they all get that the most important thing is they want to see you kind of reach your full potential, right? They want you to graduate, be a well-rounded person, a well-educated person, and make a serious contribution in the world. So, I applaud coaches. There's not a coach on campus the professor can't call and just say, hey, how can we help this student? How can we encourage this student? It was last year I sent a quick note to Coach Pracher, the women's soccer coach, and just said, hey, this one student, she's come to every single class. She got a 99 on midterm, highest grade in the class. I just wanted to let you know. And he did what a good coach should do. He read the note to the entire team. Just positive reinforcement, which is what we teach in the business school, but it's great that the coaches are trying to positively reinforce that with students too. So they get the importance of academics, and we'll go ahead and talk about academics for a little bit. And in the School of Business, we actually have several majors, right? You have accounting, integrated market communication, and business. And my email is simply my last name there, vanwinter@hood.edu. So if you have any questions about any of the majors, feel free to email me at any time. And even within the business major itself, the business major is the largest major of that group by a significant margin. You're going to have choices, right? You can concentrate in marketing, you can concentrate in international economics, finance, accounting, entrepreneurship. And the big question I get, and it's really like a big fear I get from students in their first year or two, is that they're worried they don't know which one they want to do. And I think my number one advice to students, and often their parents more than the students, is don't worry, right? Just take it day at a time, and it'll all come to you. As part of the business major, you're required to take marketing, you're required to take finance, you're required to take accounting, you're required to take entrepreneurship. And by the time you're done taking them, you'll know what you want to concentrate in. It'll be crystal clear to you. You'll never have to worry about it. And you can change your concentration in 5 minutes. So it's not a big deal. The other important thing that I think about, which is that it's smart to just go ahead. If you're not positive, but you're 70, you're 80% sure you want to major in business or you want to major in integrated marketing, go ahead and declare it. You can declare your first year. Great thing about that is you'll then be working, well, I'm not sure if it's great to work with someone like me, but you could work with one of my other 9 colleagues who are all great. And that way you're getting advice from someone that'll make sure you do all the right steps to kind of set yourself up for success within that major. And again, changing majors is not a huge deal. There's certain, as Jen mentioned, like Dr. Cooper, there's certain majors like nursing and education you want to start early. But I've had a student start as a business major, switch to history, and then switch to integrated marketing, and she graduated in 4 years. So it's not something you really have to worry about. And the last thing I want to mention is following up on Provost Ricker, is that I often get parents ask me, will my son or daughter be allowed to do an internship? And my reaction is, well, I'm not sure if allowed is the right word, but we require an internship. It's just a great opportunity for you to go and actually apply what you're learning in school to an actual organization and see whether that is really what you love. And the great thing is, if you don't love it, you'll do another internship and you'll find your passion. So I could talk about internships forever, but I don't want to take up too much time here. So like I said, anyone have any questions, feel free to ask them now, or feel free to send me an email.
Thanks, Professor Van Winter. Dr. Cooper, do you want to get started sharing a little bit about the nursing program?
Sure.
I will also say that Dr. Cooper serves as our faculty athletic representative, and that positions her nicely as a liaison between the faculty and the academic side of the house and the athletic department. So hers is a very important role for us. So you could be here this morning, Jen. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to echo what Dr. Van Winter said about the connection between the faculty and the coaches, and the support that I've always felt there, like being able to talk to coaches about some student issues and get things, kind of get students set up for success in the best way possible. And those relationships are very important to us. So I am faculty in nursing and also in public health, which is a new program. I saw that there was at least one of you here today that was interested in public health. So glad to be involved in that way too. So our program, I think one of the key features or skills that, besides all the nursing skills that students learn, is really about time management. Which sounds like maybe that will be a lot to juggle with being a student athlete, but there are quite a few services that we have to support you. Aside from our coaches and our faculty that are here to support you, we also have a wonderful Student Success Center that provides mentoring and tutoring, and we have study halls that are provided. So a lot of support there that can be offered to our student athletes. Our nursing program starts out where you can come in and declare your major in what we call level 1, and that's when you take all the prerequisites that are required for nursing, such as those things like anatomy and physiology and chemistry and intro to psych, classes like that. And then the actual nursing course will start in level 2. So it's kind of building the foundation in level 1. you have to complete and pass those courses then to progress into level 2. So that also, is our challenge, to keep that very well scheduled so that you can progress into the next step. We are very fortunate to be strong partners with Frederick Health Hospital, which is literally in our backyard. And if you live on campus, you can walk there. And we're a senior partner with them. We also are partners to quite a few other community agencies and including the Frederick County Health Department, which is really in close proximity to campus. So when we talk about time management, that's a great thing, because we can really get to our the agencies where students are assigned for their clinicals, which begin in year 2, pretty easily, and that's a good thing for us. So time management's very important. We can help you with that. We have a lot of great services on campus to help with that. We want our student athletes to feel supported and know that they can juggle both. It is absolutely possible to do that, even with nursing and with our clinical and lab requirements that are part of our courses. And I'll just stop there, and I welcome any questions that anyone may have about nursing, and I'll be on during the time we have today with all of you. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Dr. Cooper, much appreciated. I hope this has given you a good sense of who we are on the academic side of the house and how we work closely with our student athletes, our coaches, and the athletics program overall to support our students. We are a very student-centered college, and if you take nothing else away from today's conversation, I hope it's a reassurance that we're here to ensure the totality of your good experience, not just in the classroom, but outside the classroom. And that means leveraging our supports on all avenues and in all aspects. So with that, Mr. Brown, I'll be happy to address any questions anybody has, or move forward with a Q&A session as per your program.
What questions do we have? Are there particular majors that you'd like to hear about, or is there something about what's an average day in the life of a student at Hood? What kind of questions might you have?
Since you're already putting it on the table, what is an average day for a student at Hood like?
Oh, okay. Why don't we have some of our students go do that? Billy or
Billy Garrett.
So my day as like a typical student is like pretty hectic sometimes depending on the day, but mostly it's like during the week that I have a lot of like my activities. So like I'll have like class, and this semester I kind of did this to myself. I'm taking 18 credits, so it's a little bit more hectic, but usually students take around like 12 to 15 credits to be like full time. So yeah, so with that, usually the classes, I'll like go to class, and then I'll have like some type of workout, and then maybe go to another class, and then that's usually like a typical day. But like in like during the beginning of like I'm sorry, I can't rephrase my words, I'm sorry. So let me just start over, okay? So like usually my coach, he usually has like a workout in the beginning of the year or the day, which is like a weight room, and then like I'll go to class, and then like usually classes are about like an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, and then usually like you have like 2 to 3 classes, usually around 2 to 3 classes a day, like they're Monday, Wednesday, and Tuesday, Thursday. Does any other student want to help Billy Jackson?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that. So the main thing really to go through, which I know with a bunch of me and my athlete friends, is that you need 124 credits to graduate in 4 years your bachelor's. So doing quick math with that there, you should be taking about 15 credits per semester. Now, with people who do a spring sport or do a fall sport, they really try to plan around that so they can take about 12 in their when they're in season and 18 when they're not. Try and balance it out. And the reason they do that is so they can still get their 30 per year to graduate on time, but they're not stressing out as much while they have games and practices and stuff. So really, it's all about scheduling and time management, especially if you play a sport, because not only do you have to build your classes and also build in times to study and do your homework, you also have to be prepared for your practices and your games and just all that stuff that comes up. So really, the average day is just moving your schedule around to get everything you want to do done and make sure that you meet deadlines.
So how do you have your day scheduled during the season? What time do you have your classes? Knowing you have practice and stuff.
Well, that's all different depending on what sport you're in and what classes you have. But what coaches usually do is get their practices set up either really early in the morning when students don't have class or during common hour, so you don't have those conflicts. Because when you have, say, our men's lacrosse team where they have 60 plus kids, that's virtually impossible for them to get practice time set up during class time and when classes are in session where no one would have class. So your coaches really try to work around that. They also send in practices really late at night. So they're always set up that way. So having conflicts with your practices and your classes rarely happen. However, the main thing that a lot of coaches do, as Garrett brought up, is that they'll set up a workout for you to do that's outside of doing practice. So they'll have scheduled lifts and that, and you just have to get those done at your time.
All right.
See, we have another question in the chat about the average class size for biology majors.
I'll be happy to take that, and I can also type it into the chat just so that you can reflect on it. Overall, across campus, across all of our programs, at the undergraduate level, the average class size is 15 students. I know this because I just got this data in the updated fact book on Friday. So about 15 students in all of our classes. But because that's an average, I think this question was from Allison. Great question. You may experience a class with as many as 20 to 25 students or as few as 8 to 10. I can say that in biology, some of the introductory classes would have about 20 students or so in each of the labs, and that's on purpose because we have some safety guidelines that we want to follow when you're in that lab class. But when you're in the upper level lab classes in biology, like virology or cell and molecular biology, you may have as few as 12 or 15 students in those lectures and labs. Great question.
Thank you.
Hey, I have another question. Do your dual enrollment credits transfer?
Yes. Dual enrollment credits have to appear on a transcript from the college, from the community college or whatever college is offering them, but they are eligible to transfer into Hood. Yes.
I have a question.
Sure.
So what do you guys do about when an athlete has to travel? How do you guys deal with that? If they have to travel to play a game or they have to travel to go to another country or something like that?
Oh, okay. Okay. That may be, why don't we have one of the coaches respond to that? Okay.
I can answer that. Hey, everyone. My name is Chad Dickman. I'm the head basketball coach and head golf coach and assistant director of athletics at Hood College. Good question. As far as the scheduling go with away games and whatnot, you're allowed to miss practice. You're allowed to miss class for any games, away games, home games, whatever. But you cannot miss class for practice. So coaches most of the time schedule practices around their team's classes. As far as games go, professors have been great working with our student athletes as far as just letting them make up work, letting them turn stuff in early. But they understand that, we have a high percentage of athletes at Hood College. They make up a large percentage of our student body. So from that end of things, the professors understand that. They work with our athletes extremely well. And so you're not penalized for missing class for a game. Again, any practices, you have to go to class. Classes take precedence over that. So hopefully that answers the question. I'm getting a little alert on my computer that says I don't have great connection. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No problem.
I have a question.
Sure. Go ahead, Zoe.
I wanted to know, oh, well, hi. Okay. I wanted to know for a political science major who's also an athlete, like kind of what it's like in their daily life.
I can jump on that too. Kind of going back to what some of the athletes are talking about. So we have a unique setup at Hood. There's not many classes on Fridays, believe it or not. So most of the classes are scheduled between Monday to Thursday. So you usually have a Monday, Wednesday class or a Tuesday, Thursday class. So Mondays through Thursdays are pretty busy for athletes because you're looking at probably practice or some kind of workout. And then you're probably taking maybe 3 or 4 classes each day, probably 3. So, you may have a morning workout and then go to class, and then, you could have open gym or open field time, whatever it may be that evening. But, the good thing is that a lot of our students have 3-day weekends each week if they don't schedule classes on Fridays. So, for the most part, Fridays through Sundays are pretty easy for our athletes, whereas Mondays through Thursdays, there's a lot of stuff going on. But like we talked about before, as long as you have good time management, it's not usually a problem whatsoever. You'll have plenty of free time. Once Friday, if you're taking care of everything you need to do throughout the week, you're going to have a fairly easy weekend for the most part. So that's kind of a rundown as far as how the classes work. It is unique. There's not too many schools, I don't believe, that have that type of schedule where you're not going to have many classes on Friday. So, whether it's a 3-day weekend or whether you want to go home or whether you want to go visit, friends at another college, it's pretty unique, and a lot of our students enjoy that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have a couple of more academic focused questions which we can talk about. Are political science majors able to internship in Washington, D.C.?
Any of our students are able to do internships in Washington, D.C. or anywhere for that matter. And what you'll find is that internship experience, much like Professor Van Winter talked about in the School of Business, that internship or that applied learning experience is hardwired into the major. It's going to be a graduation requirement for that major. So yeah, that applies to political science or any other program. I want to add to what Coach Dickman was saying about our student athlete schedule and the kind of the Monday through Friday strategy. He's absolutely right. A lot of our classes are on a Monday, Wednesday, or a Tuesday, Thursday rotation. There are some that will happen on Friday, but usually Friday afternoons tend to be a pretty lean time for offering classes, which gives students a lot of time to catch up on either work or sleep or whatever they need to do. As a rule of thumb, we encourage our students to kind of look at their schedule and the number of credits that they're taking, whether it's 12 credits or 18 credits, as you were talking about earlier, and assume that for every hour you're in class, there's usually an expectation that you're doing 2 or 3 hours of work outside of class, doing homework, preparing, reading, this semester looking at the Blackboard posts and assignments and doing what you need to do to prepare for the class. For student athletes, first-year students, that includes required study hall hours, which someone talked about just a little bit earlier. So a day in the life of a Hood student is pretty packed, but what we tend to see is our student athletes tend to be masterful at budgeting and scheduling their time, which is wonderful to see, and one of the things that makes them so successful.
And then we had a question about AP credits, advanced placement credits. Nikki, would you like to address?
Sure,
gladly accept your AP scores if you have a 4 or a 5. So please take those AP exams if you have the option and work towards those higher grades, and those should transfer in as no problem.
And I don't see any more questions. Oh, the question, well, related to AP, IB.
Yes, we love an IB curriculum. We will gladly take your IB courses.
Okay, well, we're going to switch. Oh, wait a minute. One more question, then we'll switch over to our really a complete focus on athletics with our coaching staff and some student athletes. But and we'll let this go to Jen. Maybe Jen and Cooper and Nikki can talk about this one. How competitive is the nursing program?
I will start us off here, Jen. Our nursing program is incredibly competitive. We have a limited number of spaces, and I can tell you the average GPA for the students that we accepted into our nursing program for the fall of 2020 was a 3.7. So these are top students, and that's why, again, I recommend that if you're interested in nursing, you apply early. That gives you 2 chances, because we do a round of admissions in December and then also in March. So if you apply early, you do have a chance or 2 chances really to be reviewed for the program. But with a limited number of seats, it is incredibly competitive.
Mm-hmm. And obviously,
can you send us the link, please, so we can I can apply for it? Like the link for the nursing program.
Absolutely. It's the same application for everyone, whether you're applying for nursing or you're applying for business or any other major. And that is on our website. I will send the link in the chat, but you can just go to Hood College /apply.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I think we will switch over to, we'll formally introduce our head basketball coach, Chad Dickman. And there are some other coaches with us as well, but we'll turn this over to you, Chad, to talk about our athletic programs specifically.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate everyone showing up today. Obviously, you guys have a very unique situation in the 2021 class, and maybe moving forward even. Most of your stuff is probably going to be virtual tours and whatnot. Some of you all may have come to campus already. If you have not, I would highly recommend it. Very rarely do we have any families come to campus and leave underwhelmed. It's just, there's so many good things about the school, and you got to kind of get to campus to see it all. I mean, from the city that it's in, and anyone familiar with Frederick can tell you it's a very, very kind of cool, young city. It's very safe. There's a lot of stuff going on. And we're about 5 minutes from everything, whether it's downtown Frederick, movie theaters, any restaurant, any fast food place, Walmart, Target, mall, whatever you need, we're about 5 minutes away. So from a location standpoint, it's easy to get to. I'd highly recommend coming out to campus. I think you would be extremely impressed. I think, from a athletic standpoint, we always talk about and I'm very upfront with what we do well, what we're not so good at. There's only a couple downsides, I think, to our school. Some kids want a very big school, 30, 40,000 kids. We're not that. We're not University of Maryland. We're not Penn State. We are a smaller school. But there is a lot of stuff going on. It's a pretty good sized campus for the limited number of students we have. But I think our last 3 incoming classes have been the biggest in school history. So we're definitely kind of, we got some momentum, as the school starts to expand. And I think a lot of that is just word of mouth. If you talk to anyone that's been a student or been on campus, they probably have pretty good things to say. So, the small school aspect for students that want that and want that individualized attention it's tough to beat. But again, if you want a huge school, that we can't help you there. And the other thing, the only other main obstacle we usually have is just our cost. Any private college, especially a strong academic college, is going to cost a lot. Any state school at this point costs a lot. The good thing about Hood is that we give some of the best scholarship packages of any school in the entire region, as far as how much money that we give, free money, especially to good students, from scholarship monies to grant monies and whatnot. All kinds of different programs where you can qualify for a lot of scholarship money to make that in cost much cheaper than the sticker price. Sticker price is very high because you get a lot of stuff. It's a strong education. It's a safe school. It's from a personalized aspect, anything that you need, you're going to have for the most part. We just built a new dorm. It's like an apartment style dorm where it looks like a little mini apartment. It's got kitchens in every room, private bathrooms. I mean, it's really, really nice. As I think Nikki said it before, it's imperative that everyone applies and does the FAFSA. The FAFSA comes out October 1st. Get that done. And, communicate with us. If you have a certain coach you're talking to, communicate with them. Let them know. If it's a little too expensive, let them know. If the price looks good, let them know. The best thing you can do is communicate with whether it's your counselors, your coaches, whoever it may be, and we can do everything we can from our end to try to make it work for your family. Don't be scared off by the sticker price. When it's all said and done, if you take advantage of everything that you have at your fingertips, I think most families are very surprised at how cheap it ends up being compared to what the initial cost was. So keep that in mind. From an athletic standpoint, so the Division III model, we cannot offer athletic money. It's just an NCAA rule. However, like I said before, we offer so much academic money, different grants. I always recommend go to your guidance office or email a guidance counselor and ask about outside scholarships you may qualify for. There's millions of dollars a year go unclaimed because students just don't know about scholarships, or they are just too lazy to apply for these scholarships where, it's free money. So, when you come to Hood or go somewhere else, you definitely want to take advantage of that. But from the athletic standpoint, again, we cannot give athletic scholarships, unfortunately. Division III, the whole model with Division III is to have a balanced student athlete. So, work-life balance, from the classroom to your sport, to your role in the community. They want you to have enough time to be fully well-rounded and get a complete education. So, we don't have mandatory practices the entire year like Division I does. Like, we don't have kids coming back in the summer for summer school and doing practices. Most of our stuff, depending on what sport you have, happens in the fall or the spring, or possibly both, or the winter. So once your season starts up, it's a legit. I mean, it's just like a Division I, Division II school where you're practicing 6 days a week, it's competitive. I mean, our conference is the MAC conference on the Commonwealth side. So it's us and Stevenson are the two Maryland schools, and then 7 schools from Pennsylvania, mostly Central PA out to Philadelphia area. The good thing is our farthest conference opponent's like 2.5 hours away. So we're never getting home after midnight like a lot of schools have to do. We don't have to stay overnight anywhere unless it's like a big tournament somewhere. But it's a very competitive conference. All the teams are good in every sport. So I think one of the things that a lot of high school athletes don't understand is how high of a level competitive Division III is. I'm not going to lie to you. There's some bad Division III schools out there athletically. But if you look at the upper end of Division III schools athletically, every bit as good as the lower Division I schools. So, you definitely have to be serious about athletics if you want to compete at the Division III level. But at the same time, it's not going to take over your life like it may at the Division I level. So, there is that balance that all of our students have. A couple of our professors and everything had talked about the time management aspect. That's huge. In college, you don't have as much in-time class, or you don't spend as much time in the actual classroom, especially now. But there's a lot more work outside the classroom. So, we have study hall required for all our new athletes, 4 hours a week for the first semester. It kind of sets that fundamental baseline of how much I need to place aside outside the class for studying, reading, writing papers, assignments, whatever. Because it is time management is the biggest factor on your success as a college student. You just have a lot more freedom. You don't have a curfew. The work's harder. You got a lot of new friends, whatever it may be. And if you start procrastinating with a lot of stuff, that's where you can get overwhelmed. But if you take care of that stuff and you're on top of everything, you don't have a problem. So the study hall is great for our new athletes because it kind of lets them, place that time, the first semester and kind of get everything squared away from a scheduling standpoint. The second semester, you don't have to do it unless you're really struggling, in which case you may have to do the second semester as well. From a athletic standpoint, again, if you haven't been to campus, it's hard to kind of describe. We have top tier athletic resources. We have a nicer turf field than a lot of Division I schools. We have a beautiful athletic facility that's only 8 years old, where we got a 2-floor weight room. We have a really nice gym. We have 3 trainers, a nice training room. We got a film room. I mean, anything you would find at your bigger colleges, we have. And obviously, depending on the sport, each sport has something different, but we really try to take care of our athletes and make sure we're offering them top-tier resources athletically. Academically, you're going to get top-tier resources anyway, from free tutoring in every subject to, like we said, there's the study hall, there's the academic center where you can always meet with tutors and have them look over your stuff before you actually turn it into your class. There's so much help that each student athlete has that it's hard to fall through the cracks or go off the rails without a coach, an advisor. Someone's going to know and be able to help them out. So, from that end, that's something that a small school can do that probably a bigger school isn't capable of. And the other one thing, I said that the two downsides are if you want a bigger school, like a huge school, it's not us. The price may end up being a little too expensive for your family. Hopefully not. But the only other downside I usually can think of is we have academic alerts where all the coaches and the student athletes, if they're missing class, if they're coming consistently late, if they're failing quizzes or fail a test, the coach finds out. And I'll be honest, our athletes don't love this, but it's for their own good. I know how 18 and 22-year-olds are, don't want to admit they need help sometimes, but to have someone kind of, especially a coach, kind of looking after you and being very in the loop with how you're doing, that really helps out when you may have a problem. And we can be a lot more proactive with getting you help if we find that out every week like we do. Some schools, the coaches find the midterm grades. If you have an F at midterm and the coach finds out then, you're going to be, scrambling to get a D in the class. So it's very helpful. That there are so many advantages of a small school. That's one of them. As far as, I don't want to go too much longer here, but the other thing I do want to mention is we've had incredible success with the internship program. I know that was mentioned before by Dr. Rickert. It's, as an athlete, every school, every college offers internships. Almost every college, they're voluntary. As an athlete in college, you are probably not going to do it if it's voluntary. You can tell yourself till you're blue in the face you're going to do it, but you'll keep pushing it back because you're busy. And when it's built into the curriculum, then you have to do it. You're going to do it. And that semester, you won't have to take as many classes because the internship's worth credits. So we've had so many kids get offers, job offers before they even graduate at that company, or at a different branch of that company, or at a competitor in that industry. But you're getting an unbelievable reference because you usually have some sort of mentor at that job that can make calls for you. Your resume looks unbelievable because you're a 4-year athlete, hopefully, good GPA, good school, and you have legitimate work experience in that industry as a 22-year-old. Whereas a lot of the kids that are graduating with you at other schools, their job experience may be, well, I was a lifeguard or a waitress, or I was a caddy at a golf course, something like that. And you have, well, I worked at Google or Merrill Lynch or Frederick Memorial Hospital. So it really helps out our graduates. I think that's one of the big reasons our kids have been so successful after graduation. Other than that, there's many things to go over from an athletic standpoint. We have some really good coaches. A lot of you probably don't understand the history of Hood yet, but we've been only co-ed for about 17 years. So we were an all-women's school till 2003. So we don't have a lot of the long-standing, especially with male sports, tradition or name recognition in some other schools, just because we haven't had co-ed programs that long. So that's something that, from relative to other schools, we're a very, very young college athletics program from that standpoint. But it's getting better every year. And we've got some young teams that are, starting to work their way up to conference. We have some teams that have been good every single year. But I think when you come to campus and you see the, not only the resources, but the way the coaches care about their athletes, the kids on campus, we just have great kids. We don't have, 100%, flawless college athletes that never make any mistakes. But I think a huge selling point is just the type of people that we have on the teams. And so if you have a chance, try to meet some of the kids on the teams. We just have really, really good kids, smart, they work hard, successful, just the types of kids that you want to be around when you're coming from high school to college. So hopefully that was kind of a rundown of just basic athletic stuff. I know Coach Praker, the women's soccer coach, is going to jump on and talk a little quickly about some eligibility stuff with athletes from an NCAA standpoint. So I'll let him talk for a little bit, and then we'll take any athletic questions that anyone may have. Coach Praker, are you on?
Yeah, I'm in my coffee's kicking in, so I'm in a good place right now. But thank you, Coach Dickman. I feel like so many of these questions were questions that I had when I was a high school student looking at colleges. And I'm fortunate to call myself a Hood College alum. I interned in Arlington, which is the city just south of DC. I was inside the Beltway. It was a really nice experience for me. Dr. Van Winter, every chance I get to tell everyone that he was my academic advisor at Hood. And he and the rest of the business faculty have been very consistent. I only see a new face every now and then with them. But I enjoy seeing questions that I myself had as a student and a prospective student athlete. So I wanted to talk about the just the NCAA eligibility requirements that you guys will have as Division III student athletes. Just briefly, nothing over the top or crazy. You probably you'll hear a lot about NCAA eligibility when a basketball coach like Rick Pitino or a football coach like most of them make mistakes. But NCAA eligibility is sort of the governing principles of what our athletic department functions under. So it keeps everything at a level playing field. In NCAA Division III, none of you are paid to be athletes. You're not under contract to do this. You can, I don't want to say you can come and go as you please, because you are making a commitment to doing something that's important to you, and has been an important part of your life. but it's something where you're all amateur athletes. We put you under the right sort of pressure to develop as a person and develop as an athlete, rather than the pressure that, hey, if you can't perform here, you're losing some sort of scholarship. All the scholarships that you get are attached to how intelligent you are and how good of a person you are and how you serve your community. So everything that you're doing right now is preparing you for being a college student and a college student athlete. Once you arrive at Hood College, you get to have a really fun and exciting meeting with me, all of you do, about NCAA eligibility, and we go over some rules and some specific things that are important to you. But things that you need to know now as a student and looking at schools, in order to compete as a student athlete and at really any level, you have to be a full-time student. You have to be enrolled full-time, which is at college and I think just about everywhere, 12 credits. So at no time while you're competing as an athlete can you dip below 12 credits. So say you're a women's soccer player, you're on the team that I coach. If you drop from 13 credits to 10 on a Friday, you become ineligible and can't play on a Saturday. So that's something that you can take with you at Hood College, really wherever you go, that you need to understand. You can't be an ineligible athlete and trying to get on the bus and play a game. It's not a good thing. And then academically, we require you to maintain a GPA above a 2.0 in order to compete as a student athlete. Now, I know what many of you are thinking right now with your high school GPA, what it is. Well, if I get a 2.0, my parents aren't going to let me home for Thanksgiving, or below a 2.0. And you're right, they probably won't. But it's important to understand that there is a floor. You can expect to not do well in your courses and continue competing as a student athlete. What I can say is, as a general principle, most student athletes do excel in the classroom. One of the biggest challenges you will have coming out of high school and entering college is this thing called free time. And 2020 has taught you that you may have a little bit more than you thought you did. But in most cases, in a normal year, you're waking up at some awful hour, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, going to class or going to high school. They lock you in, you're there all day. You leave at 2:30 or 3 o'clock, you go to practice. You may have a job, you may have clubs that you're a part of. And by the time you get home, it could be 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And now you're buckling down and doing your schoolwork for the next day. Well, in college, you may not have that. You may have a 9:30 class that gets out 10:20, and you may not have another class until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's this marvelous thing. And to ask my athletes, it just creates the resurgence of nap time. My student athletes who will go on to do really, really great things in their 3.8, 3.9 GPAs in the classroom, they love the ability to have free time in the day, to work on their schoolwork, to take a nap, to do something. And that sense of freedom, that ability to manage your schedule is a great thing. But it's also a really difficult thing to adapt to, because from the time you were in kindergarten until you're a senior in high school, your day is set out for you and you know what it looks like. And as an athlete, you have to manage that now. And in college, you have to manage that, but there's just more freedom to do things. So if you're earning less than a 2.0 GPA, it's not this professor or this course. It's look at yourself in the mirror and see how you're managing your own schedule and what your day looks like. Because I think it's honestly harder to not excel with all the resources available to you at Hood College. Math center, writing center, tutoring services, academic resources just about everywhere. Most of the time you don't want to talk to your coach if you're not doing well in a class. It's kind of intimidating. But you can talk to just about anybody else and feel really comfortable about it. if you are a women's soccer player, I like to think that I'm very approachable and you can talk to me about your challenges in the day, but it is an intimidating thing. But I think that in a smaller liberal arts institution, there are so many touch points with faculty and staff and tutors and resources that you really have to put yourself in a situation where you're not going to excel. Courses are difficult, courses require hard work, but you as individuals, you know who you are as students and you know what you need to do to excel. So that's really my long version of you need to take 12 credits. You need to be above 2.0. But really what we want to see is you excelling, taking 15 courses. You need 15 and a half on average a semester to graduate in 4 years if you're not bringing any in. So we want to make sure that you're on track for that. And you want to put yourself in a position where you can excel in the world outside of college. And that for student athletes, we like to, I love to see 3.4, 3.5 in my team as an average GPA. But in athletics, our target goals are trying to keep things above 3.0 for our entire student athlete population, which I think you all want to see. But that's all I have. Any questions? I think we go in question mode and then tour mode, but I need to check that schedule again.
Yeah, I have a question. So how's the recruiting for the women's soccer? Can you talk about that more, please?
Certainly. And I don't want to speak for all coaches throughout the country. And I would say that 2020 into 2021, in case anybody in the Zoom room hasn't noticed, has been a weird year. The ability to recruit and the opportunities to recruit have been minimized by the challenges of COVID-19. But our process is twofold. So there are students that we reach out to that we see at events, at tournaments and training sessions and camps. We'll reach out to them and we'll express an interest to them based on their athletic performance, and see what sticks, see if the programs that we have, the school is of interest to them. And then there's the other side where students express an interest in us. We can't see everybody. We don't have unlimited resources. I've tried to be more than one place at once. It doesn't work. But the students that reach out to us because Hood College is a place that they're sincerely interested in, we're going to work with them to try and find a time where we can see them play. And we're going to give honest feedback and just about the process and where we see them fitting in. So most of the time it's just answering the other question that you may have. If you're interested in Hood College and women's soccer, and you reach out to us, we know that there's interest in the school. We then want to reciprocate it with, do we think you're a fit for our program? For the other side, we know that when we see a player play and we like them as an athlete, that they fit what we're looking for athletically. And then it's answering the question of, is Hood College a fit? Is that a place where they can excel? So for that this year, timelines are a little weird. Soccer is notoriously early in terms of decision making, but we pumped the brakes in March, and even the players that we've been talking to for months and months and months about the 2021 recruiting class, we knew that they were in a standstill and they weren't going to have all their questions answered from every institution that they were looking at. So we're in a situation now where we think we've created a really, really nice bond with a group for 2021. That's not to say that it won't grow or shrink across the way as things change and decisions are made, but we did not want to feel like we were pressuring anyone into making a decision at a really stressful time. So we like to keep things pretty open-ended in terms of decision making. I should be the one sweating about your college decision. rather than you should be when you're trying to make a really challenging and important life decision for yourself. And I hope that, you know, a lot of coaches at a lot of places can say the same thing, but that's just how we do things and how I operate.
And I'll just follow that up with, I know we have a lot of athletes on the call. I know we have a lot of track and field athletes and cross country and some other ones. I think your best bet, if some of you have already had contact with some of our coaches or other schools coaches, your best bet is always, pretty much every college program has a questionnaire online. If you go to their athletic website, you can fill out the questionnaire. That will trigger a couple of things, but it'll give the coaching staff all your basic info that they need. Also, depending on the sport, like for, you know, sports like, you know, women's soccer and men's basketball, any type of highlight film that you make and send out is definitely helpful. And then, you know, usually if a coach likes it, he may ask your high school coach or club coach for a full game film, something like that. But it's always good to do the questionnaire, send out a highlight film, you know, to any coaches, and, you know, just check in with an email, follow up. You know, trust me, we have probably, depending on the sport, 50 high school athletes reach out to us a week with interest in playing college sports. And obviously we can't take all of them. Some of them aren't good enough, not a great fit or whatever, but that's kind of how I think the best way to go about it as far as trying to, you know, be proactive in your recruiting situation, especially in the situation we're in now. So any other questions about athletics? I'll just throw it out there before we move on to the campus tour. Hopefully we can answer anything real quick that anyone may have.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Can athletes travel abroad still?
They can. I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with our study abroad programs to I guess detail that in. Whether it's probably something with Dr. Ricker, but I know they can. I believe we've had athletes in the past travel abroad, usually in the spring. But maybe Dr. Ricker can answer that.
I can, Coach. Thanks so much. Yeah, Zoe, thank you for the question. We've got a very robust study abroad program here at Hood. One of the faculty members in our Global Languages Department oversees that in partnership with our Career Development Center. We have a number of study abroad programs with outside affiliates, and we have a lot of programs that are actually run by Hood faculty, including one of the ones in the Zoom room here. Dr. Cooper has been involved in developing a study abroad experience for our nursing students, but open for all students, really. Unfortunately, Zoe, what we're facing now with the global pandemic is some pretty tight restrictions on international travel. And I have to tell you, that's been a heartbreaker for a lot of our Hood students who were planning on those experiences as part of their academic journey. And we certainly can't violate CDC guidelines with regard to travel, but we're very hopeful and really looking to the future of our study abroad programs, particularly those that might be able to launch in fall 21 or spring 22, and continuing to move that forward. We're a bit relentless that way, as you've heard. The tenacity and the Hood spirit is palpable. So we are not giving up, and we're continuing those plans, but hopefully once we get a vaccine on board and some of those travel restrictions are lifted, we can get right back on board with study abroad. But Coach Dickman's right. A lot of our athletes do take advantage of those and bake those experiences into their academic curriculum. They'll either do them in a semester or they'll do them in the summer. A lot of students opt to do them in the summer. So whatever works for you, we'll try to accommodate as best we can.
Thank you, Dr. Ricker, and thank you, Coach Dickman and Coach Preacher. Lots of good questions. We're not going to cut off your questions, but we are going to shift over to the campus tour. Here's our schedule for the rest of the event. We will have a campus tour led by a couple of our admissions counselors, Allie Imhoff and Kyle Bugarelli, that will lead you through, and they are available to answer a lot of questions as you move through the tour as well. And then at the end of the tour, we'll have some really breakout rooms. A number of you are track and field and cross country athletes. you will meet with Coach Bonassi at that point in a Zoom room, and then students interested in all the other schools will have another breakout room. I know we have some other coaches as well as some of our current student athletes there to answer questions and talk to you at that point. So at this moment, you can continue to put questions into the chat, but let's switch over to Kyle and Allie for our campus tour.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Welcome, everyone. We're really excited. How about this? We're all athletes in some form or the other, and we've all been talking for a little bit. So let's have a little bit of a stretch break. Show us how flexible you are. Maybe, you know, like some, I don't know what you guys do. I know there's a couple kids from California in here, so maybe you need to go get another cup of coffee, but really wanted to welcome everyone here. My name, as Mr. Brown said, is Allie Imhoff. I have been with Hood almost 4 years now. I absolutely love it. Born and raised here in Frederick. I work with students from Frederick and Washington counties primarily. You California students, I've got you, don't worry. I'll communicate with you, as well as I think we have Illinois and Oklahoma in here. A couple other states, but I also work with transfer students, international students, and I'll be teaming up with Kyle, who's going to go here in a second to get you on a campus tour.
Awesome. Like Allie said, my name's Kyle Bulgarelli. I am also an admissions counselor here at Hood College. It's my first year as an admissions counselor. I'm very excited to have this position, but I've been at Hood. This will be my 7th year at Hood. I graduated with my undergrad degree in 2018. Over this summer, I finished my master's degree here at Hood as well. And I've been a part of the men's soccer program for all 7 of those years, 4 years playing undergrad, and then my 2 years of grad school. And this year, I'm an assistant soccer coach for the men's team. So I'm very familiar with athletics. I know what it's like to be a student athlete, to be a prospective student athlete. Like Coach Prater said, it's really awesome to see all these questions that I had when I was going through the same process you guys are going through. I work primarily with students from the Eastern Shore in Maryland, and then Garrett and Allegheny County as well. And then I have some states around the country also that I work with. But we're really excited that you guys are here, and Allie's going to bring up the campus map, and so we can take you on a nice tour of what we got going on at Hood College. Awesome. Thank you, Allie. So for this tour, because we are focusing on athletics, we're going to start off with the athletics facilities that we have here on campus. But just to give you a little bit of a layout, this is our campus here. It's around 50 acres, and you can kind of see that it's smack dab in Frederick, Maryland. Towards the bottom of your screen, that's when you start going into the downtown area. Up top, we have, towards the top of your screen, we have a shopping center up there on the other side of the athletics facilities. And then right there on the right of your screen, if Allie wants to highlight that, that's actually where the Frederick Memorial Hospital is. So we talked about the nursing program and our pre-med program. So that's an area that we're very familiar with. There's a fence that separates us. It's right next door, just like we said. But moving on to our athletic facilities, the first facility I'm going to cover is our Volpe Athletic Center. And so, Al, if you could zoom in on that, thank you. Awesome. So our Volpe Athletic Center, it's home to our training room. It has our fitness studio, as well as our BB&T arena, our basketball court, and also where our volleyball team plays. There's a great picture of it there. This is a space that is for student athletes, but also for the whole student body as well. It has our fitness studio. So the first floor is all of your weight training, your free weights, squat racks, all that type of stuff. There's a great picture of it there. And then the second floor we saw a little earlier, that's all the cardio equipment One of the great things I like to point out about this fitness center is that the windows for the cardio equipment that you can see there overlook the turf field. So if there is a game going on or a practice going on, I know we have a lot of cross country and track athletes here. Running was never my favorite thing as a student athlete. And so you can be a little distracted watching soccer practice or lacrosse practice on the turf while you run on the treadmill, which I think is a great setup that we have here. I also mentioned our athletic training facilities. We have 3 full-time athletic trainers on staff. They're always available an hour before practices, an hour after practices, and then for games, they're also available 2 hours before games, 2 hours after games. With away travel, they travel with us on occasion. If they don't travel with us, then we communicate with wherever we're traveling to. They send us with a nice med kit. We take care of wrapping anything that we might need, on away travel with the away training staff. Also in there, like Coach Dickman mentioned, we have a film room, the hospitality suite, which is a large gathering space used a lot for meetings on campus. And then there's also all of the athletic offices are in there. So it's a great facility, relatively new to our campus. It's really an awesome space that we have that gives us those larger school accommodations for our athletics, although we are this smaller institution. Moving on, right across from the Volpe Athletic Center is our Thomas Athletic Field, the turf field, along with our softball field there. The turf field, although on the map it shows the old turf, it is newly renovated. It was renovated last summer, so just completed brand new turf. It's a really awesome setup. To give you a little feeling for the atmosphere for games on the turf, there's a blue strip that goes around the whole outside of the turf. And although we have bleacher seating, all of the students on campus sit in that blue strip right on the sideline of the turf. If you've ever watched a Duke basketball game where the crazies are, wiggling their fingers and people throwing the ball in, it's a similar atmosphere here where the students are right up on the sideline, especially for soccer games. That's what I'm most familiar with. They're right up on the sideline, hooting and hollering, making sure that you have that camaraderie. You get that little extra motivation going on later in the game. So it's really awesome. Also at the athletic turf field, that's not pictured on the map here, is we have new throwing facilities for our track team. They're over by those trees that Allie has the pointer on right now. So we do have throwing facilities on campus. We also have a mat that we use for high jump, pole vault. That's another training facility that we have on campus as well. But primarily for our track and cross country teams, they do practice off campus. We don't have those facilities on campus. Coach Benassi is going to have a breakout room after, so he can definitely talk to you a lot more about that. But we do have a great communication and relationship with Frederick County Public Schools that are 5 minutes away. We use some of their facilities, and there's also parks that are 5, 10, 15 minutes away that our cross country and track and field teams use as their training facilities. Coach Benassi is incredibly creative. He uses a lot of our on-campus facilities for his workouts and training. He can go on and explain a lot more than I can. It's something you don't really notice that we don't have those facilities right here on campus. Additionally, just going on with a couple other sports that we don't have their training facilities on campus. So I saw we had a golf interest in the group. So we also have, there are a couple golf courses nearby that are, Coach Dickman can probably talk about a little more if you have any questions about that with our golf program. But we have great relationships with those golf courses nearby that they go and train at just to keep playing, play your rounds, practice a little bit. We also have those grass spaces that are used a lot for just practicing swings, hitting into a net, all that type of stuff. So those are facilities we have. And our baseball team plays at nearby Frederick Community College. So another facility that we have a great relationship with. It's 7 minutes down the road. So that's another facility we don't have here on campus. But a good thing is that they have an all-turf baseball field. So our baseball team practices a lot on our turf facilities because it's the same surface, the same material. And another great relationship the baseball team has is with the Frederick Keys. So we have a nearby single A affiliate baseball team. And so we train a lot there with our baseball team, both training and playing games there, which is another incredible experience we have. And then if we slide along to the left side of the athletic facilities, we can see our tennis courts and our aquatic center. So these facilities, similar to the Volpe Center, these are both available to our athletic teams, but also to the whole student body and to the Frederick community. I always like to talk about how intertwined Hood College is with the Frederick community. And one of the cool things I see on campus is typically on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights, the Frederick Aquatic swim team, all the little kids that swim in the county come and swim in our pool. And so their parents line up with their cars and you see them sprinting inside, holding their bags and everything. It's really a hilarious time. But it's something that goes to show how intertwined we are with the Frederick community, the community feeling we have here on campus, which Ali will go on and talk about a little later with residence life. But it's something we'd like to do with our athletic facilities to give back to Hood College, to give back to the Frederick community, in an area that's provided us with so much support and so much love. Because without the Frederick community, our athletic programs would not be what they are today. That's just a quick overview of our athletic facilities that we have here. If anybody has any questions about those facilities or anything I might have missed, feel free to throw those in the chat or to just speak up if you'd like to. We'll answer any of those questions now.
Well, if you do have any questions, like Kyle said, please feel free to throw them in the chat. We're all monitoring it. We know how much information you're getting today too. So don't be shy. You can message us privately if you don't want to ask in front of everyone. We'd be happy to answer. So we'll go ahead and move on into residence life. I mean, you're going to be tired from practice. You're going to be hungry, wanting to get some food. So where are you going to live on campus? How are you going to get there? And what's that going to look like for you? So campus is divided, as we've mentioned, into 3 sections. Your athletic section, which we just went over. Now we're moving into the residential section, and we'll finish up with everybody's favorite, academics. That's why you're coming to Hood, right? So to learn. So now we're going to talk a little bit about residence life. We do have currently 6 residence halls on campus, and they are in the middle of your screen here. So starting with Smith and Koblenz, those are going to be Smith and Memorial. Those are our 2 first-year residence halls traditionally. We do have a couple of cohorts in all of our other residence halls because what is amazing is Hood is continuing to grow. So we're able to spread the love into the other residence halls and get you integrated into this wonderful Hood community. So besides the 2 residence halls here, you also have Schreiner Hall, Myron Hall, and Koblenz. You can see it's an easy walk here to our athletic facilities. And what I didn't get to mention, and I know that Coach Dickman mentioned earlier, was our new residence hall, our upperclassmen suite and semi-suite style apartments. And that is located right here. So you are never too far away from your athletic facilities. Every first year residence hall, and actually every residence hall, does come with air conditioning. I know, something that you wouldn't ever stop to think about, but we do have either central air or air conditioning units in every one of the residence halls. You have your shared bathroom. Everybody has a laundry room, so you do your laundry. I know as athletes, I was a swimmer in college, and I didn't really have as much laundry as everyone else. I had to take more showers than everyone else, I think. But as an athlete, you might have to wash all your clothes. So we do have laundry facilities in every one of our residence halls. You don't have to save up your quarters now or swipe your card. That is included in your room and board. Every residence hall does come with your desk, your bed, and actually in Smith here, we have some pictures that we can show you of what it's like to have your bed, your desk, a closet, a chair to share with your roommate. Well, actually everybody gets their own stuff, but on here we do have Billy. He is one of our residence assistants here on campus, and I want to turn it over to him to talk a little bit more about residence life for you and what you guys might expect in coming to campus. So Billy?
So hello everyone, again I'm Billy. I am the head RA of Myron Hall, which Miss Allison pointed out is the one closest to the aquatic center and pretty close to where our field is. So I'm an RA. What that means is basically I'm just the big brother of the building. So if anyone's having any issues, they come to me, I try to solve it. And a big thing is that we are the ones who are documenting you if you don't follow college policies. So a big thing to point out, no matter where you go, is your RAs aren't the ones who get you in trouble. It's you getting yourself in trouble but you just got caught. And that's very important because when you do get documented for a situation, the reports that we type up will go not only to the people in Res Life, who then will go further with judicial hearings, but also will go to your coach. But we don't just write things about what you do wrong, we write good things. So one thing that I'm always pumped with is when I walk down my halls in the past few years, when we would see the RAs who posted all the scores of the games, they would have up on bulletin board just to show like the Blazer of the week for who did well in their sport. And that's what I was really excited for this year. I was looking forward to going out and seeing all my residents play, cheer them on. It's just great to see how they go. For instance, last year I was on all men's floor and we had this one basketball recruit. And when he got in for the game, like he just made 3 points in a row. It was the first time he got in and the crowd was just going wild. So we all stand really behind our residents and we look forward for it. The one thing that I noticed is that your coaches usually set you up with someone else in your sport. And the reason they, for your first year, because you guys have to have a roommate for your first year unless you have accommodating services not to. So the reason for that is in case you have to wake up at 6 in the morning for your practice, which our swimmers usually do. They want you to be with someone else who also has to wake up, so there's not issues there at all, which is a big thing to point out. And one thing I also noticed is that usually people are placed closer to the fields if they're an athlete or when they choose. So in Myron Hall and in the new Res Hall, since they're so close to the fields, that's usually where athletes choose to go. However, as you guys have seen, our campus isn't really huge, so you shouldn't be late to anything at any point. It's about a 5-minute walk really to classes or to athletics at anything. So those are the great things that living here on campus. I'm not sure exactly how we're moving forward. We're always trying to make changes in the residence hall. So as Ms. Allison said, we do have the 2 freshman buildings, but in Myron, which is an upperclassman building, we have freshmen this year. So I'm not sure exactly where you guys will be placed next year, but I do really recommend if you can get a tour on campus just to look at the things so then you can actually see how it looks like instead of just through the pictures, because sometimes dimensions are off in the pictures. So yeah.
Thanks, Billy. And as Billy did mention, you are no more than 5 minutes away from the athletic facilities here on campus or even your classroom setting. I give everybody a generous 15 minutes, but that's really if you're dragging your feet or you just want to take a stroll through our beautiful campus. One of the things everybody likes to stop and, kind of take in is right here is our pergola. I'm not going to give too much away. You're going to have to come to campus to find out the traditions behind it, everything else like that. So we do want you on campus when you're feeling safe and up to it. We will be outside for tours currently, but it gives you a chance to take it all in and kind of give yourself a little bit of a pace and see where you're going. So I'm noticing in the chat, lots of really great questions. Does it cost extra? Can you have a car on campus? Yes, you can have a car on campus all 4 years. It is first come, first served parking. But if you didn't have a car, that's absolutely okay because you can walk everywhere. And at the beginning, Kyle did mention the shopping center located right next to our athletic facilities. It has a grocery store opening next week, which is really exciting because it's been in the works for a while, but also a CVS, a Taco Bell. I know that's the golden beacon of hope for many students. You got your Starbucks, and if you're from Jersey, maybe you got your Dunkin' Donuts right there in the next shopping center over. So you guys are all set with or without a car to be able to get around. So let's say you wake up late and you're like, oh my gosh, class starts in 5 minutes. What am I gonna do? How am I gonna get there? Don't you worry, because all these residence halls are 5 minutes away from all of your academic buildings, right down here in the last section of campus with what we're talking about. So I want to see if everybody in here, if everyone wants to throw in the chat maybe something they're excited to study, or maybe something that they want to see a little bit more about while we're talking about academics here. I'll give everyone a few seconds to type that in, or you can even chime in and speak up.
Do you have to leave on campus?
So our students living on campus, if you are outside of our commuter distance, which is 30 miles, you are required to live on campus, yes, through your junior year, the end of your junior year. There is guaranteed housing all 4 years here on campus. And if your senior year you want to live off campus, that's absolutely fine. But know that there is a bed on campus for you should you want to stay on campus. So yes, if you are outside the commuting distance, you are required to live on campus. If you're inside the commuting distance, you need to be living with a parent or guardian for you to be able to commute to campus. But you can also live on campus if you live 1 mile away or 100 miles away. It doesn't matter. We would love to have you here as a residential student.
Does it cost extra to leave on campus?
Yes, so you will be paying your room and board on campus, and what that's going to include is your bed, your place to stay. It'll include a meal plan, that laundry that I said, everything like that, air conditioning, internet, all that wonderful stuff does come with additional costs.
Are you able to tell us the range, like the cost of it?
So the cost of campus for tuition is roughly $42,000. It's $41,680. And as coaches mentioned, that is a lot of money. That is a lot of money to spend on tuition. But nobody ever pays that full amount, and we do include a lot in that tuition. And we can talk a little bit separately if you want to throw in the chat. If you want to message me separately, I'd be happy to reach out to you. Room and board will cost $13,010 a year, roughly. That's what it is right now. And that includes all the things that I mentioned. But filling out the FAFSA and doing all of that will help bring the costs down quite a bit. So I'm looking in the chat here, and I see a ton of political science, biology. This is all really exciting. Law and criminal justice, art and archaeology, pre-vet, social work. These are all really good programs to talk about. I see a question about the different meal plans, which is a really great, thing to kind of segue from residential into academics. So we'll go into Koblenz. Let's talk about that. Meal plans. You are required a meal plan if you're living on campus. We do have a dining hall where it is buffet style. We have pizza every day for lunch, for dinner. Thursdays is our favorite Hood lunch day. It is Chicken Nugget Thursday for all you chicken nugget fans there. But you have unlimited swipes with the unlimited meal plan, which means you can go into the dining hall as many times as you need to, which I know is really important for student athletes as you're burning all those calories during practice. You're also given Blazer Bucks to use, which you treat like cash, and that can, be used here, or if you don't have a all access meal plan, or it can be used in Whitaker, which is a good segue here. Oop, I'm just flying through the screen here. My apologies, everybody. Here in Whitaker Campus Center, there is an alternative dining option in here. It's the Blazer. I like to describe if Burger King and Panera decided that they wanted Hood to have a restaurant, it would be the Blazer. You've got your typical burgers, curly fries, all that stuff on one side, and on the other, you have muffins and coffee, paninis, all that wonderful stuff. So you can use your meal plan in there. And in our new library, we will also be having a new cafe, which I'm sure we will be able to talk about that once the library does open, as far as spending your points in there. I'm going to, at the end of this, throw in the chat the campus tour. There's lots of videos and everything on here, but I wanted to point out all of our academic buildings. So since a lot of you said biology, we have some computer science students, any of our sciences, we'll kick off our academic section talking about the Hodson Science and Technology Center. So the Hodson Science and Technology Center, like I said, has computer science, all the sciences that you've got in there, as well as mathematics. What is a really cool feature, I know since Dr. Cooper is on here, we do have those interested in nursing, our nursing wing, where the actual classrooms mimic Frederick Health. The simulators were actually designed from the Frederick Memorial Health rooms over there at the hospital. So students get really good hands-on interaction over there. So students will be no two labs in Hodson are alike. You also have environmental science and policy that's taken place over there. So you get all that wonderful stuff going on. Also in our academic, I'm sorry. Somebody have a question?
No, I'm sorry.
It's all good. All right, next we're gonna head into Rosenstock. And so Rosenstock is going to be home to English, history, political science. You've got your communication arts, and then most importantly, business. That's our largest major that we have on campus. But one of the things that Hood really prides itself is the experiential learning. And just as Hodson had the nursing wing, as well as a coastal watershed studies wing, Rosenstock here has two really awesome interactive learning pieces. So first off, we have the broadcast studio. Those interested in communication arts get that opportunity to work with the cameras and teleprompters and behind the screen stuff. Student athletes get interviewed quite a bit in this little thing. Maybe you guys can give me some tricks of the trade, because I know that I tried to sing Frosty the Snowman in front of the camera and I was absolutely terrible at trying to read the teleprompter. So you guys are gonna do awesome in here when you have your interviews after maybe a big game, something like that. Also in Rosenstock, the other really awesome thing is the trading room. The trading room here is what is a fishbowl style classroom. It has a whole bunch of computers and everything in it. But if you notice there is the ticker that goes at the top of the screen, and it is actually just a couple seconds delayed off of the New York Stock Exchange. So you get real-time information up there. I think one of the coolest things that students get to do, and I know that they really love doing it, is that they actually get to invest money and go against the faculty to see who can be a better investor. So if you're interested in that, that is a really great opportunity. Lastly, in Rosenstock is our auditorium. You will never have a class in here, guys. This is used for movie nights, for anything like plays or musicals, the pitch competition here. We have guest speakers. But the wonderful thing about Hood is because of our small class sizes, you will never have a lecture in here. So it's just a large class gathering space, which is a really great opportunity for you guys to be in there. Move on, I know I did see some art and archaeology, psychology. That would take place here in Tatum Art Center. So home to those programs, as well as foreign language, education, and then you also have our law and criminal justice. Another good hands-on learning space here is our moot courtroom. So students actually get to have lecture in here, as well as practice, do debates, and another really great learning space here on campus that's not your traditional sitting in a chair facing a whiteboard setting. You can see Dr. Bean here engaging with her students in that style. And in the Tatum Art Center, there's also an art gallery. Check it out. It's a really great study space for students on campus. And I want to, next we'll talk a little bit about the library, and we'll end with our alumni hall. But our library here, as Dr. Ricker mentioned, it is currently under renovation. We're going to put in a whole bunch more natural light, lots of study spaces for you guys to use. But really the key feature is going to be our Learning Commons open on the first floor of the library. It's going to be 24 hours. So for those of you who like to study at 5 a.m. or 3 a.m., I don't know, I guess those aren't really morning and early morning. Doesn't matter the time, you guys will be able to go ahead and study there. But there's also going to be a place for you to work with our library staff, our IT staff, and most importantly, our Student Success Center, which is going to help with the tutoring, any accommodations that you might have. And for those who need help with time management or study skills, they're going to be there for you and help you out. Finally, last but not least, rounding this out, and I know there's tons of questions, and this is really awesome because that just means you guys can come back and visit us and interact with your admission counselors, as Nikki said earlier. We're here to help you answer any questions that we might have. But I want to finish up here with Alumni Hall. I think Alumni Hall really represents what Hood is and what it stands for. And of course, those 4 pillars there are very iconic to Hood. So this building does host sociology and social work academically, but it also hosts the offices of the president, Provost Ricker, Dean White, a whole bunch of senior staff are in here. So you're able to go in there and it's just very iconic. But those 4 pillars right there, when you're coming up Hood College Drive, they stand for Hood and what we stand for. So hope, opportunity, obligation, and democracy. That's what we are founded on, and it's just a very iconic building. And with that, I want to say thank you all for coming on the tour. Keep those questions coming. I know that you guys have a lot of them. As I mentioned, I'm going to put in there the tour link for you, so that if you want to take this on your own time, check out the videos. But we really do encourage you to sign up for a visit. Come visit us, come talk to us. We can do it virtually and do an FaceTime interview if you really want, if that makes you feel safe, or you can come to campus as well and walk outside with us and do it that way. But I wanted to thank you all, and I think, are we going back to you, Mr. Brown?
We are. Yes, we are, at least temporarily. We're going to have, thank you, Allie. Thank you, Kyle. You've seen the campus. You need to see it in person. I'll second Allie's invitation that we would love to have you on campus. We'll show you around. Much better to meet in person, face to face, and we look forward to that opportunity. So thank you for coming to this. We're going to have a breakout room. Coach Benassi is going to talk to all the students interested in track and or cross country. You're not going to go anywhere. You're going to sort of stay right here. Other students that are interested in the other sports, any of the other sports, whether they be esports or other intercollegiate athletic sports, are going to go to a breakout room. And I think our instructions is if you would put that in the chat that you would like to talk about specifically other sports. Kyle Bogarelli, one of our admissions counselors, but also an assistant coach, is going to be there as well as some other folks. So let us know in the chat if you're interested, what other sport you want to hear about, and we will move you to the breakout room. Peyton Mills will do that because she knows how, and I don't. So we'll get you moved, but put that in the chat. We'll move you to the breakout room, and the rest of you enjoy the conversation with our track and field and cross country folks. Thanks very much for coming to this. If we don't have a chance to say goodbye later, thanks very much for coming. We hope you got lots of good information. We're going to have other sessions coming up, other Discover Hood Day type sessions. One, which I think everybody will be interested in, is the one that's going to talk about sort of the behind the scenes and the secrets to the Hood College admissions application process. So we're going to have that available. You got the nuts and bolts of it now, but we're going to give you a lot more information. And so we'll make sure that you hear about that as well. Thanks very much for coming, and we'll shift folks around. Thanks very much.
All right, so we'll give everybody about a minute to kind of get situated, and then we'll start. But what we're going to really do with our cross-country and track and field program is I have two of my assistant coaches on as well. I'm going to have them introduce themselves, and then we also have a few of our current student athletes. And so really this will be a panel, because I've talked, either myself or my assistant coaches have talked to everybody in here pretty much. And so I'm excited that we could have so many people out. But yeah, this will be a chance to really connect with some of our assistant coaches, our current athletes. As you guys know, I'm super transparent on everything in the recruiting cycle. So you can ask any questions, to our athletes about what things are like. What do you love about the program? What do you like about Hood? What do you not like? What are some of the challenges? Because this is a chance to learn. Yeah. So with that being said, I'm going to have our assistant coaches introduce themselves first, and then our current student athletes on the team. Just a little bit about yourself. Where you're from, the events you work with, if you're a student athlete major, and things like that.
All right, so I am Coach Schrader. I grew up in Carroll County, Maryland, and I'm actually about to move back to Carroll County, Maryland. And I work with the distance athletes. I ran the 5K, 10K, steeplechase in college, so those are kind of what I like to work with. But yeah, I'm excited to meet you guys and definitely answer any questions you have.
I'll go next. I'm Coach Nayevich. I am the sprints, hurdles, and jumps coach here at Hood. I'm from Pennsylvania. I graduated from Allegheny College, where I ran hurdles, sprints, and relays. And just like Coach Schrader, I'm really excited to meet everyone. And yeah.
And we also have two other assistant coaches who are not with us this morning. We have Coach Kevin Jones, who is in his third year with our program now. He competed at Mary Washington University in Virginia in college as in some distance events. So he helps out with our distance runners too, but he also specializes in high jump and pole vault. And then we also have Coach Lisa Spencer, who is our coach for shot put, discus, javelin, hammer, and weight, so public throws. And so now I'll have my current athletes. You guys introduce yourself, and again, just your name, where you're from, year, major, and events. I think would be a good place to introduce yourself with.
Hi, I'm Rafaela, but everyone calls me Rafi. I am a junior now. I'm from Northern Virginia, Haymarket, Virginia, so not too far away from here. Just right off of U15. I'm studying law and criminal justice. I'm hoping to be a lawyer, but with COVID and everything, I might be sticking around a little bit, so and finishing my eligibility. But I also study, I'm minoring in political science and Spanish, because I'm Puerto Rican, of course, wanting to keep the Spanish studying. But I'm also the president of the Democrats Club, so political science I'm very big about. I run cross country and track and field. I did used to play women's lacrosse here at Hood, but I loved to run track, and I missed indoor track, so I'm now running full time, and I love it. So can't wait to meet you guys. And any questions about law, please let me know.
Hi, my name's Zoe Bronson. I'm class of 2021. I plan on attending Hood to run cross country and track and field, and I plan on being a political science major. I run everything from the 200 to like the 800 indoor and outdoor. And I run the 5K in cross country.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Zoe. Yeah, I'll have our other athletes, jump in. So Evan, Shay, Conley, and I'm forgetting, and Kevin. So that way you guys can meet our current athletes, and then we'll answer. Then we'll have some Q&A. We'll answer some questions, and then certainly any individual athletes that want to stick around and just kind of talk, more one-on-one, then we can certainly do that too. So, so Evan, why don't you go ahead?
I'm Evan. I'm a junior, class of 2022. I'm sorry, 2022. I'm a law